Showing up as a leader, as a woman in our businesses can often feel sometimes very foreign, especially if we don't see ourselves as being a leader or having those leader characteristics. It can feel very, oh, I don't know if I'm capable of being a leader, or no one's actually really taught me how to lead and how to lead well. Or if you're a great leader, amazing, totally here for you and totally hear you. But a lot of women that I've chatted with over the years, we've had so many different women through our community and podcasts and all the different friends, family. Sometimes we often don't think that we're leaders, even though we're actually in a leadership role, or we are naturally leaders and just don't even see it. I know for me personally, it took me ages to realize that I was actually a leader, and just the thought of that wanted to make me like vomit inside. I'm like, oh my gosh, no, I can't be a leader. Who am I to lead women? Who am I to lead CWIB? I'm not worthy, or whatever the stupid things that would come up, that I would tell myself that I was not worthy for this purpose that God's brought me on this earth to do. And I have more purpose than just CWIB. Hear me out when I say that. I'm very careful when I talk about purpose, because I feel like we all have a bigger mission than what is just our businesses. We've all, and back in November last year, I went through it. What is like your values and your bigger mission within yourself that you want to see throughout the world, that you can bring to the world, of your uniqueness and how God's made you. But we're put in leadership positions whether we see it or not. Whether we're running our business as ourselves, being self-employed, having to manage our clients and set vision for our business, all the way through to having a team of 25 to 50 to 100. There isn't a point where you're not putting yourself out there, where you're not in a leadership role or having that certain influence, be it clients, team, movement, whatever it is, however it is that you see it. And so I was thinking about leadership the other day after speaking with another friend who is stepping into a more leadership role in her business, in the fact that she's now ready to bring in team members, and just felt a little bit like, oh, so what is leadership? What is that? And what does it look like? And what does it entail? And I want to just put one thing out there straight away. It does not entail you being perfect. Quite far from it. Not any of us who are in an influential world are perfect, whether they put it out on social media, their YouTube, their perfect pictures of their families. Don't take it. No one's perfect. We're always learning. We're always being pushed by God to expand, to grow, to think beyond our own world and our own box. And so no one's perfect. We're always learning. And those of us who are like really honest and vulnerable will 100% admit that we're just winging it. Like we're just making this stuff up. There's so many thousands and thousands of podcasts and business books and all that stuff that's out there that it can feel very overwhelming to try and learn and to read it all, which I'm not going to go and suggest that you do. But it can, even though there's so many tools out there, really, business is about learning on the job. And it's about 100% winging it, but making it look like you're not winging it. So I had a really good chat with another friend in the UK, and we're on about how she's, oh my gosh, she only just bought her business. And I've spoken about her before in previous podcasts. She's like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm like, welcome to the business club, babe. We're all making it up. We're all learning, and it's totally cool. How do we lead within that space of 100% winging it and 100% going on this journey with God, which can sometimes be very unpredictable, and show good leadership within that, within our own learning, within our own imperfections, and just feeling not even knowing what day it is half the time. Like, oh, I'm so thankful for my digital watch that tells me the time, the day, and the date, because often I have no idea what day it is. But here's 3 foundations of good, godly leadership that you can apply to in your business that will take away, hopefully, the pressure of needing to feel like you have to have all your life together to be a good leader, and that encompasses God in it. I should have put scripture with this. I haven't. But I feel like this is just more my learnings and observations from being under really great leaders and also just seeing how different people lead in their business and organizations as well. So the first one is showing up consistently. Now, that again doesn't range on perfection. People think like being consistent means being consistently perfect and consistently either going up or consistently progress. That's not what consistency is in the perspective of what I'm trying to share today. Consistency is showing up when you're not feeling perfect, when you're having a bad hair day, when stuff's going on in your life, be it sometimes we do need to pull back. But how do we show up in those times, and how do we show the consistency as a leader within that space? And I can use myself as an example for that is I've been going through a separation. I am separated, been going through the separation, about to enter the next stage of that separation now. I've moved countries, like life's been wild. You've been on the journey, you've seen some of it. Sometimes I have needed just to take a week and just to pull back and just to reset and to nurture my heart where things come up and trigger that you're just not expecting when you're going through a separation. It's like grief. I've been through grief. I understand what grief of losing a person to death feels like. And this is a different type of grief going through a separation after a long marriage. It's so different. And it really brings up all different things of yourself, not just the marriage or the relationship, all warps of different things within yourself come up. And it's such a beautiful, hard learning space. And for me, showing up consistently within this year has been what can I commit to that's manageable on a regular basis? And how do I keep consistency within the organization of CWIB, even though I've been pretty inconsistent the past couple of years coming up to the decision of separation. And I'm sharing this with you from the most vulnerable, rawest, honest perspective that I can. And it's, for me, it was just literally just making the decision of what I can be consistent with in this season. And for me, even though there's other fundamentals that go with, for example, conference. Let me just put my phone on silent. Sorry, I thought I had. There we go. Conference is amazing, and we do need capital because we don't go for sponsorship. So we build up capital through our membership. And in the past, we've used our membership to help fund conferences because you need to put money up front for things like venues and deposits on these, whatever it is. You need upfront cash before you've sold the tickets to actually get the event started. And so an external point of view of that is we've not had that capital to be able to put into running another conference. So that's a physical thing of regards to that and outside resources. And also God hasn't provided that. And for me, I've asked myself, at this point in my life, honestly, could I run a conference? I probably couldn't. Not because I don't want to. I'm just in a very delicate season in my life, and going into overcrowded spaces in itself overwhelms me at the minute. And being in like heavily people populated places, it's just very overwhelming. I don't believe that God could not give me the strength. I just know that's not something that I can consistently show up for right now and do it well and not feel like it would break me at the minute of being at a point of such intricate healing season in my life. This is a huge season of healing and allowing space for that healing to come. And I purposely and purposefully want to honor this time that I have of healing and heal well and heal with Jesus in the center of that. So I've asked myself, what is it that I can consistently show up for? And what I can is smaller get togethers. and online events where I'm still in my own space. I'm not managing a heap of people and leading a heap of people into the event, a team and the delegates. So for me, where I can show up consistently and do it really well for the movement is doing our quarterly Thrive resets. Nailed it. Can show up consistently for that. And for smaller meetups, like we're doing our coffee and catch ups, totally manageable, something that can totally show up consistently for. This podcast, I can show up weekly and consistently for it and show the consistency in my leadership through that. Showing up for volunteers within the organization, I can show up consistently for. Sometimes social media slips, and that's okay. I had a big trigger come up. I'm trying to think where we are now. I think it was last week or the week before, and it knocked me for six a little bit. And I also had a lot of other things going on. I had external meetings with the automation girl, different events that I was running, and then in personal had something come up that triggered me really hard. And so I just needed to take that step back just for a minute and go, whoa, like there's some lessons coming out of this. There's learnings within myself about life. I just need to take a minute and really process this. So consistency is like this, but it's showing up over a long period of time in the messy and in the not so messy. So for me, with everything that's going on, I have shown up pretty consistent over the past year. There's been odd weeks that I have missed stuff, but over the board, I've shown up. And another great example of this is the gym. So, for example, powerlifting training or strength training as a whole, any sport really, you can't show up every day and give 100%. We're not built like that. I'm interrupting this podcast to bring something special to you today. Imagine 4 days away in the beautiful Noosa hinterland, surrounded by stillness, space, and soulful strategy. I would love to introduce to you the Wild Women's Business Retreat. This is your chance to step out of the busy and into intentional clarity. I've been invited to co-host this amazing time away with my dear friend Stacey Close from the Rewildery, and together we'll help you to do the deep dive work, crafting a brand message, refining your offers, and setting up systems to help simplify your business but enable you to soulfully scale. If you're a trailblazer just like us and you want to be taken on a trail that you can learn on and help your mind be expanded within your business, this retreat is for you. July 29 till the 1st of August 2025 in the hinterland of Noosa, you're going to be taken away to have this much needed time of groundedness, of focus, of soulful systems and automations. There's only 6 spots that are going to be available for you to join us on the retreat. So if you're wanting to leave with clarity, just leaving knowing that you've worked on something within your business and having that refreshness in your soul, this retreat is for you, and we can't wait to hold this space for you. To register, head over to christianwomen.co/events. Head down to this retreat section and you can find out more and book your spot through there. God, especially for women and our bodies and our hormones, we are not built for showing up 100% all the time, and especially within strength training. But that doesn't mean we don't show up. It just means some days we go at 70%, some days we go at 40%, some days we go at 50%. But we're still showing up no matter where we are on that scale. We're showing up each day for our training session, 4 days a week, 3 days a week, whatever it is that we say we can fit into our lives right now. And we're just showing up, not at 100% every day. And I want to give everyone permission that you do not have to show up 100% every single day of your life. You do not need to overachieve. We are past overachieving. God has not built women to be overachievers. And when we do that, we burn out. Type A's, I think is the buzzword to call it. They burn out. We all do. We're not made for that. Doesn't mean we can't run successful businesses. It just means we have to understand who we are and how God's made us as women, and know that we don't need to turn up at 100% all of the time. And if you can show that consistency in your leadership and show up vulnerably with that and be not share the communication of every detail with your team, but knowing and communicating, hey, had something a bit rocky go on this weekend. Just need a little bit of space. I'm here for you. If I suddenly take myself off, I'm okay. I'm just needing that space to breathe this week. Honest, open, vulnerable without giving too much information away, but enough to know that the team aren't going to be freaked out if you suddenly just rock off and are emotional wreck. Like they've had a heads up. Yep, she's okay. We'll just leave her to have her space. And that's how we can show up consistently. The second one is being grounded in God. And this is just so fundamental with every aspect of our lives, not just in business, but whether we're going through separation, trying for a baby. There's just so many different things in life, right? Just got married, building a family. Foundations are being grounded in God. And again, that comes back to consistency. And that doesn't mean we have to read 100 pages of our Bible every single morning before we can get on with our day. That's not what that means. That means being in the moment and being present and having that as your foundation of where you do everything from. So, for example, when I had the trigger come up the other day, that was really confronting and brought up so many things, and I was in the midst of a really busy business week, I was like, Jesus, I'm here. This is where I'm at. This is where my heart's feeling. This is what I'm feeling. This is where I'm feeling it in my body. Help me in this moment. Allow me to see clarity. Protect me. Whatever it is that you're needing from Jesus, or that you can communicate with him of how you're feeling, not avoiding, but just embracing that moment and being centered with God. I had to bring up a difficult conversation with someone, and I just wasn't sure about how to approach it. And so for me, again, it's Jesus, God, I've got this conversation coming up. No idea how I'm going to handle this. Please give me your wisdom, your advice, your knowledge. And more often than not, in those situations, God has allowed that person to come to me after me having that split second of a word, not word, just expressing to God how I'm feeling. And God, I need you to take care of this, or I need your help with this. That person's then got in contact with me and has had the conversation, and I've been like, oh, holy Jesus, thank you. So there's being grounded in Jesus, not only within the word, which is super important. 100% on board with studying the word of God, but it's in the everyday also of knowing that God is always there, lives within us. We have his access to him and Jesus as our intercessor, and being grounded with that within our leadership. So it might be something with the team member that you needing to bring up, bringing it before God. I'm about to do this, Jesus. Give me the right words. Allow me to handle it in the right way. And when it is okay for you to 100% go to God about that and asking him for help and being grounded from that central place of him, no matter what comes up. The next thing, the point that I want to make, which is going coincide with showing up consistently and being grounded in God, is learning to handle the load when God created women different to men. And I know I've spoken about this so much, but it's just something that I think is so fundamental and such a hidden power for us women to really embrace the fact that we're not men and we can do things differently, and being grounded in that. What mission has God given me? And this kind of comes back to the being grounded with God, and then also learning how to handle the load. And it helps us with our decision making. And that comes from our vision, mission, and values. Once we have those in place and understand our personal mission on earth and then our mission for our businesses, then learning to handle the load becomes so much easier. Because I don't know about you, but from my perspective, being in leadership means that people come to you all the time with 100 different ideas of how they think things should be run better, or what they think that you should be doing as a leader. And it can be very overwhelming and very confronting. And so I want to encourage you to, from that grounded place in God, really lean into when people come to you with that however it is, whether it's coming from a team member or from an external person, what's the vision, mission, and values behind my personal mission and what we're doing in business? And does this line up? We can be so easily swept away with trends, people pushing stuff on social media, whatever it is, like I've spoken about in the previous podcast. There's so many ways to easily get distracted, especially if we're online a lot. So I think learning to handle the load is being educated without overwhelming ourselves, making decisions from the vision, mission, and values that God has given us and why he's given them to us, because that is our blueprint for how we run our businesses and how we can make decisions and where those decisions can come from. And I'm a really strong believer in we don't always need to be doing every single thing that's on our to-do list. Like, out of all the tasks that we give ourselves in business, I always strongly ask myself, is this task going to be helping me build my business? Is it going to be helping me build my team? And is it in line with where we're going? And if not, I just don't do it, because we already feel like we have so much on our plates as women. And so by doing the bare minimum, that's going to give us the biggest return on investment of our time and our energy and what we're putting into our business, I think is the fundamentals for us learning to handle the load as a female with our hormones and how God created us. So show it up consistently, being grounded in God and learning how to handle the load, I think, are three really great foundations of godly leadership in business that you can implement that will take away the overwhelm, take away the perfectionism, having that centered groundedness that God brings for us that we can rely on. We don't have to do this on our own. We are 100% not here to do business on our own. We have God and we've got our CWIBs, friends. And so being grounded and knowing you don't have to do this alone, and having that groundedness within God, and what does that look like for you in your everyday. No pressure to read 100 pages of the Bible vibes, but the word is so important. But coming back to, need to make this decision today, God, about to have this conversation. I'm feeling very overwhelmed. Help me come back to feel grounded, God. And then when we are feeling pulled, or that we're being pulled by a trend or by a human, whatever it is, going back to our vision, mission, values and going, is this where God is the track that God's put us on? And is this taking us off that track or keeping us on it? And if it's keeping you on it, then being confident with saying, thank you so much for your idea. We'll take it into consideration. Going away, being wise about it, doing a bit of research, and then coming back with, appreciate it. We'll take it into consideration. That is all you have to say. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate your point of view on that. Totally hearing you with what it is that you're saying. Doesn't mean you have to do it. It's just a really polite way of saying hell no. Is how we communicate. So I hope that those give you great foundations for godly leadership. From my observation and what I've seen in leaders, this is what's really stood out to me. And all of this covers boundaries. It covers great communication. It covers having your own back, but knowing that God's got it as well. And that leadership comes from that place of being grounded with him. And that as females, we can do leadership really well. We just do it differently to men, and that's okay. And that is totally the way that God designed it to be. And to fully embrace that, embrace our hearts of nurture and wanting to serve is such a beautiful thing, but don't do it at a cost of losing who you are and the mission that God's given you. I'm SJ. You're listening to the Christian Women in Business podcast, and I'll catch you next time.